Hey, I'm JD. How you doing, folks? Welcome to my channel. Please hit subscribe. Please hit like if you've got the time. It helps my channel move along. I just love my channel. So this is a watch repair. I also have entertainment and comedy, but mainly watch repair. So here I've got an old Elgin pocket watch, and as I've said before, in Canada, Elgin, there's an Elgin Street, E-L-G-I-N, Elgin Street. There's a Elgin in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Elgin in Ottawa, there's Elgin everywhere. And in America there's Elgin, and they call it Elgin. And I called it Elgin once. I got in shit from everybody. I'm not sure why, but I did. Just as a side note, before I start this, I went on AliExpress and I bought a bunch of these, and these are chains, luxury silver pocket watch chain. Actually, this isn't the silver one, this is the gold one. Very nice chain. This is one that you'd attach to your belt, most likely. And I've got a silver one here. It's a nice silver one, and this one's a double, so you can attach it if you wear suits like that. You can use a double. And I've got another one here that I think is a long single. No, it's got the T-bar here to put in where the buttonhole is. So these are all really nice, and all up I think they cost me 15 bucks on AliExpress from China. Now I know we're picking on China lately, but they do make good quality stuff in China. It's not like the old made in China from the old days. It's high-end quality stuff. I have watches made from China. This watch here, I'll take it off. It's my fishing watch. And born to fish, J.D. Richard, born to fish, 2,000 meter, and it is a fish timer. But it's a beautiful watch, bronze watch. It's got a decent movement in it, and it is from San Martin Watch Company. San Martin makes beautiful timepieces, and this watch here has got a crown, and the crown is sealed. It's a screw-in crown for diving. I do a lot of fishing and stuff like that, so I need to have waterproof material. So this is the watch here. So I'll show it to you on the camera there. It's a beautiful timepiece. I love the green on it. So give me your comment there. Doesn't cost much at all. I think it probably has an NH35 movement in it. I can't remember, but I've had it for quite a while. And the leather strap came with it. Looks great. So anyway, back to this video. I guess first I got to apologize. I had one of my cameras go out for production. It's one of these Nexigo cameras, and it was a really good camera sitting on my display so I could just look up. It went out. I love the quality of these cameras. This one died. I think it's one of the earlier ones that I had, and I've replaced it with a different camera. So also, if I do any coughing, it's because we've got a significant air quality problem here in the city of Ottawa where I live. And here's the watch. Don't let air quality ruin your watch experience. So here is the Elgin pocket watch. It's a beast. I did a video on it before. It's an old watch. I think it was 1910. It's a size 18. And of course the phone's ringing. I think every time I make a video the phone rings. That was my wife. So this watch, this old watch, I'm hoping it sets because it's got some problems. And I think, there we go. Nothing's happening. Oh, there we go. We got some movement there. That's good. So I'm going to strip this apart, and I'll leave the crown out because I'm going to have to set the time anyway to take the hands off. Just be very careful with that little seconds hand here. And I line the hands up here when I take it off, but I'll just get rid of my face so you can see more of the video. Alright, we're going to tear this watch down and see what we end up with. So I'm going to take the hands off first. So just a matter of removing the front here. This thick material. These old size 18s are pretty incredible. And there's the seconds hand just fell down, so I'll pick that up. It looks a bit bent, but that wouldn't be terribly difficult to straighten up in a staking set. And now I've got to protect the watch for removing the hands. So I use a very small or a very thin piece of plastic and these very wide hand removers. And this ensures that I don't put any undue pressure on the dial here. It looks like there's a crack right here at the 7 position. These are very old watches, so you're going to get some dial cracks in these old porcelain dials. So you just stick it under here and then just lever it up like that. And then you get the hands, grab them hopefully very carefully, and move them out of position. And now I've got the hand out of position, put away the piece of plastic. Now I'll put the face back on the watch here to protect it some more while I access the back of the watch, the rear of the watch. The tricky part here, I think, is that the mainspring does not seem to have a click, so I have to figure something out there, and I think there's also a screw that's broken off or missing, and I got to figure out how to deal with that, remove that. So it's a little bit more effort or work than I thought it was going to be, but this is a family heirloom, so we'll work on this and do our best. So the first thing I do here, just to clean this up, is to remove the balance, and I'll put that onto a tack. So I have a tack right here, and remove the balance is for safety reasons. I think all other watchmakers do exactly the same thing. And I'll get my Bergeron stick out. It's 70-10 stick upside down, and I use that to apply a bit of pressure here while I do this. Now I should be able to lift this straight up even before I take this out. Although if it doesn't come up, I can very simply take the movement out and then deal with it from the movement side. But I like to get rid of the balance first, as it can cause issues if it gets scraped or something, right? So these balances are kind of neat on these watches because they basically, here we go, they drop straight down, so they're not as difficult to put in and take out as other balances are. As you can see, I just lift it straight up here, and then I can put the balance down right on the tack like that. And I could probably lower this a little bit more. And this just provides some additional de-stressing of the hairspring as I put this down. So there it is there. So that's on that tack nicely, and the hairspring is not stretched all the way down. And I can also take the screw for the balance, and I have a piece of Rodic on the back, and I just stick that on the back, and then I'll put the whole thing, the whole shooting match, into a container. So here I've got the container, and I'll just put this in here like that, and this on top. And now I've got the balance nicely contained in here, and I don't have to worry a lot about something getting damaged. I also like to put a rubber band around the actual lid here, just to make sure it doesn't fly off. So there we go, sliding around a little bit, but no problem. And just put this out of the way, out of the way, out of the way. And we're back to our movement again. So some concerns here. I can see the leftovers of a screw right there. So am I going to be able to get this screw out? If I can't get this screw out, I can't repair the watch, because this screw is holding on the plate. There's also another screw broken off here. I just saw that. So this watch, yeah, I wasn't told that there were 2 screws broken off and 1 missing here. So this could be very difficult to take apart with these screws missing. Now this could come straight off. The plate could come straight up and leave the screws in place. Still leaves me with a lot of problem to try to get those screws out, but I'm going to try and see what happens. So I'm going to take the front off here. I'm not worried about fingerprints on this movement right now, because I'll be cleaning the movement, and I need the dexterity of my fingers without a glove on, and other people can comment on that, but I work a certain way. Okay, I'm going to be a good boy. I've got a glove here, and the movement just sort of came out. Let me have a look at this here. Yeah, there's only one screw holding this plate in place. And these screws here are case screws. And I think the case screws are being used to hold the plate down, which is very unusual. I'm looking at the works inside the movement here to see if everything is in fact there. And I think that there's obviously a problem with the winding and setting mechanisms on this watch. Let me see if I can get a bench key in here to turn this. So that's fine, but when I push in, it puts pressure on the mainspring. I can feel it winding, but there's no click. So that's a problem. But the first thing I'm going to do here is take off the, I want to take off the dial so I don't have the worry or concern about the dial coming off accidentally. So let's just take this dial off, and hopefully there's no problem there, because this, I was asked if I could work on this watch, but I didn't realize how much was wrong with it. There's a lot wrong with it. So the question is, do I have the wherewithal to fix it? Hopefully I do. If I can't fix it, I'm not going to charge anything. That's how I operate. So it's a bit of a waste of my time and the owner's time, but I don't like not being able to fix something. I can see some springs or lever set mechanism or something on the side here. It's very odd. Let me see if I can wedge this up. Just to remove the dial. There we go, it's almost out. Make sure the dial feet are free. There we go. There's the dial feet looking fine. So we're good there. I'll just move this aside for a second. I'm really interested in this whole mechanism here, because this is the winding setting mechanism, but what the hell is this? This is odd. This is rotating on the inside. So let me just take some more parts off this watch here. I can remove the hour wheel, put that aside. Usually you can take out the minute wheel. Just slide it out of position here. Like that. And then the cannon pinion, I think I'll use my tool to remove the cannon pinion. So here's the tool used to remove the cannon pinion. And you just put it over the cannon pinion. It's got a mouth on it like that, and it should grip the cannon pinion and pull it straight up. Unless it's going to be a pain. No, we got it. There's the cannon pinion. So that came out nicely, no problems. Put that aside. So now I've got it bare bones pretty much. I still don't know what the heck this is. And I still feel that these screws here are holding the plates on. There's the one screw here, there's none here. This might be an impossible feat, folks, because of the screws being embedded in here. Not absolutely sure what I'll do to remove those. But let's just keep digging, okay? I need to get a movement holder. So let's grab a movement holder. So what I'm going to try to do here, and I hate using the word try, but in this watch, because of broken screws, there had to be some hacker who tried to repair this in the past. Because you just don't break screws off like that. I need to remove the plate here for the mainspring. Let's tighten down this. I've got my Myers number 58 movement holder, which is the best one made. And this screw is actually loose. So there was nothing really, no real screw there. I'm going to put this aside here and then lift the plate up. There we go. And let me see if I can, I know I can take the barrel out now, but I want to leave it in so I can see how this mechanism works on the side. Because I can sense there's an issue here. So I'll just unscrew the, these are case screws they're called. Put those aside. Yeah, the case screws look okay. I'll put them in the tray. This is what I have in the tray so far. Excuse me. Now I want to see if this plate, if I remove this, can this plate be removed? Because I can see these screws are broken off, but the plate could lift straight up without the screws being there. So I'm going to unscrew this screw here. Oh my God. The gentleman that sent it to me, I'm not sure if he knew how much craziness there was with this. So there's one of the screws. So that's one screw that is remaining. Now I think I can lift this straight up. And then you have to move it forward because the pallet fork will break. If you lift it straight up, the pallet fork sticks right through the edge there, so you lift it and then move it a little bit, and that moves it out of the way. And there it is there. And again, I'm not sure of the condition of the jewels. I think there's a cracked jewel in the middle. I can see this. That's not sure if you can see that, but it looks like there's that jewel in the middle looks like it's got a line right across it, so that's not good. That'll require a replacement. Now here's this crazy mechanism here that's got, this is attached to this, which is all attached to, you know, this click spring mechanism. So I'm not sure, I don't think I've ever seen anything like this before. I'm going to take a picture of the gears first though. So let me get a photograph of this thing. There we go. And you got to believe that unless you can find this exact watch, that it's almost impossible to find the same movement or the same parts for the watch. So I'm just going to very carefully remove the pallet fork. I cleaned the pallet fork by hand. I never put it through a machine. They're very sensitive. Here's some of the gears. Let's move these out of the way. And it's not a high jeweled movement. So I think you should be able to lift this out and slide it out of the way. Yeah, that worked. And the center wheel, I could leave the center wheel in. I just want to see how the click works on this. Because the click wasn't working, so I could try to wind the watch, but it was turning, but there was no click. So I'm not sure when this thing pushes in like this. This is what happens. And it looks like this is attached here, and it's providing some spring mechanism back here. But when I move this here, it moves it out. You see that? How that moves it kind of inward. So there's that inward movement. All right, no click possibility there at all. So this is a weird mechanism. Yeah, the investigation continues. If there's anybody out there that understands this particular brand of Elgin pocket watch, I'd love to know. See, the plate would normally be in like this. I may just put this back for 2 seconds to have a look at what that lever does, if I can do that. So there we go. That's like that, and then I'll just put this in like this because I still don't think it'll wind. But I just want to see the mechanism working. And there was only one screw in place here for this. I'll just throw that back in for a second. All of this part of the investigation. It's like that. Now, when I turn this, so this is turning here. When I push in, this should be winding the watch. So if this were to be held in place by my thumb back here, there's still no click mechanism. So let me take this back again, and I'm going to move this lever. You can see the lever is right there. I'm going to move it inward like that, and that moves the spring mechanism on the other side. And what does that do? I'm holding the mainspring barrel with my thumb, the skin of my thumb, and there's still nothing clicking there at all. So that is not providing anything to hold the barrel in place, to click it in place, which you have to have. So that may require some study. Some study. So I can for certainly clean the watch and get it prepared for reassembly, but without understanding how that clicking mechanisms works, you'll never be able to get the watch operating again. So let me just raise the barrel out here. So here's the barrel, and is this missing something from the click mechanism? This whole rig concerns me. That's a... Oh, I think I see the click. So here's the spring for the click. That is actually the spring for the click, and there is no click. So the click is missing. So I'll have to find a click, or else this cannot be wound. If I can find the click, it can be wound, or I have to make a click, because this would hold if I had a click in there. And this here is the, as I just said, this is the spring for the click. So somebody bastardized the hell out of this watch. They just basically took parts out. Maybe they thought it was a scrap and they used it for pieces, and we're never expected to make this thing operate again. So it needs a click. Now I might be able to find a click because I've got a stash of very old Elgin watch parts. The trick is to look at those watch parts and see if I can find a click. If I can find a click, this barrel goes in there. The spring mechanism, as you can see here, the spring mechanism pushes inward like this, right? And I think it's between winding and setting, and it does set the hands. So the question is, if I can do that, will I be able to wind this watch? If it's windable, it's settable, can it work? That is the question. Now, I've seen these movements, I've seen these parts before in similar pocket watches, so this doesn't scare me that much, the way this works. And I know as this goes over this way, it integrates with the seconds wheel. I'm just not completely sure about this wheel here and why it would be one way versus the other way. It may be the unwind mechanism, so time shall tell, right? But I'd like to look for the click just for a minute before we continue. Now, just to show you, I've got this old box of Elgin parts. This is a Elgin genuine material case that I bought this years ago, and it has a ton of different vials in it. So somewhere in all of these vials might be a click. Now, there is a little bit of an index here that you can look through, but the accuracy of this index with respect to the bottle number is questionable. Here I've got rollers, I've got jewels and jewel settings, and more jewels and more rollers and stuff like that. So that's nice, but that ain't going to help me at all. And I think here is where the click might be. I just pull that up like that. I've got hands, a lot of different hands, and I've got some different parts that might end up being the click, but I'm going to have to go through this with the goriest of detail to see if I can find it. So timing screws, winding arbors, small hands, large dial feet, wow, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to hunt for that. And the last drawer here is mainsprings of different types and stuff. So the other thing is, if I can't find the click, can I construct one? That will be made, if I make a click, I would typically use like a, this tool here is used for measuring the mouth of the the pallet fork. It's used for measuring the mouth so you can determine the width. Anyway, I used that a long time ago. So if I can't find the proper click in here, I might be able to construct a click, which is going to take a lot of filing of very small parts. So let me search for a click. So here in the Pocket Watch database archive, I've got the equivalent of this watch, and as you can see, there should have been 2 screws here, but this guy's also got 1 screw missing. Oh no, these are the case screws. So he's got 1 screw there, 1 screw there, and then a case screw. Here I think we have 3 screws. So this is a grade 294. And as I go down here, sometimes you can actually get the parts from this. Yeah, a bunch of reported serial numbers of this particular watch. So it's a grade 294. The other option is always to get a movement that's like it. So if I go to parts And could I find the click? So they're uncategorized parts. Let me just close some of this nonsense down. Clamps, minute wheel clamp. That would be on the top. Collets, there's a hairspring collet. Hands, jewels, 7 jewels in here, not too concerned about these. Levers, so that's that funky mechanism that I showed you. That's the setting lever and the part number for that. Pallets, no. This is the pallet fork for the one I have. Pinions, nope. These are all wonderful but not of any use. Pins, no. Bevel pin. Rollers, no. This is a roller table with the pin and without the pin. Screws, these are the various screws. Let me look here. Click, no. Spring, no. This is a spring. Just close that down. Keep popping up. There's the hairspring, the strength, and hairspring setting mechanism. So is that it? I don't think so. I don't think so. It should be a click. So I'd have to find out where this thing is. Staff. It's the balance staff for it. Studs. Hairspring studs on both sides. Washers. Mainstream washers, center staff. Nope. And then wheels. And there's nothing here. No. There's no click so far in this list of parts. So now what I'm going to do is go to one of my books and see if I can look it up in one of my books. So here I have a book of American watch movements. So what I need to do is find the grade 294 in this book and then see if I can hunt the part down. So I think I found something here that might be it. And this number here, 2536, is a cam setting spring. This looks like it would be the click. No one's calling it a click though. But when I look at the actual part number for the grade 294, let's switch to that. And there's the part number, 2536. It's the same part number that's in the book here, 2536. And it says it's a setting spring. So we would normally call it a click, but they might have called it a setting spring from back there then. And it looks like something that would go over that arbor to actually click or click against that wheel for the mainspring. So I'm going to go down that rat hole and see where I get. So now I'm looking at my array of bottles, and I do have something that looks like it might be the part. So it says part 268, and 268 is a setting spring cam. So if I look at the up here, it says setting spring cam 268. This is 268. If this is the right part, I will be amazed. To get this out, you usually push in first, rotate, and then pull out again. If you do it, just rotate the cork on these things. This is the cork. So what you do is you push in, rotate the cork, and then pull out. So let me see if this part matches the part I'm looking at. So put the cork here. If it does, I'll just be so impressed. So let me just spill one of these parts out on the bench here. I've got 3 of them. not like they get lost, and they're a little bit corroded. I'll have to remove corrosion, but this is what the part looks like. And if I turn it around like that, there's a little bit of corrosion, but there's a bit of a depth on there, as you can see. So this might be the part. So let's see if this part actually works in this watch with the spring. If that's the case, again, I'm going to be super, super impressed. Oh, the other thing is, if I can get those screws removed somehow, I do have Elgin screws here, and some of these screws might be the right size for this particular movement. So I bought all these Elgin parts, friggin', I don't know, 15 years ago, I think. So let's see if that part fits. All right, the first thing I need to do is grab that wheel, and I put a little bit of a mark on the wheel so I know where the top is. But if I look at the bottom, it's kind of embedded on the bottom. So the top would be on this side, like that. And so that would go like this. Now, but look at the mainspring here and see how this melds in with this. Yeah, you'd think it goes like that. Not sure if you can see what I'm up to over here, but I'm looking at the mainspring and see how this part actually goes on. It would go on like this. So I actually think this part was on backwards in the watch. Let me see. Yeah, it wouldn't be like this because there would be no purpose for this to be indented. And there is a purpose for it to be indented on this side. So I think it would be like this, which means the part goes in this way, like this. So I'm just going to put this part in. Let me get this mainspring out of the way. And like that. Yeah, and the mainspring would go straight down on that. And is this the click? That is the question. If it's the click, which way does it go? So it looks like there is a catch on one side. That'd be this side. So if this goes in like this, I don't know. That doesn't look like it goes in like that. I have to go in like this because this spring is largely flat against this. I'm thinking. Turn this around the other way. It looks to be too big. Yeah, that looks to be too big for this particular movement type. But this is that part, unless it rides on that like this. No, I don't think it rides that way. No, I don't know. I don't think this is the part. I think this is a click. It might somehow fit in this watch, but I don't think it works for this particular movement because it would have to go over this here, and this is way too big for the pipe here. So it's not the right size. So let me go hunting again. So what I think I'm looking for is a ratchet wheel pawl, like this red one right here, or one I'm going to have to make because I don't think I have this part. Alright folks, I found it. There is the part right there, and it is the click, and it is part number 338. That is the part I'm missing, and you see how shallow that is, that it fits onto the post here. So that would fit, it would work with the ratchet wheel, and the spring here, the click spring, would push down on the end of that to make sure it's feeding into that ratchet wheel. So I don't think I have this part, but now at least I know what it is, and maybe I can ask if someone has that part. If they don't, I might be able to make one. So that's the status as she stands. So I'm going to create this video now, and we'll worry about cleaning and other things later. Just a few more things here. So while I'm waiting, I sent Dave's Watch Parts the information to see if he has the click for the grade that we're working on, which is a 294, which is the same as the grade 208. And if he's got that click, can he mail that to me? So usually it's something like $10 for the click and then $10 for postage. But without the click, the watch will never work again. So I need to find out, and I'll ask the owner if he wants me to proceed. But the click would just fall right into here nicely. This would push against it, and that would keep that steady in one direction while you're winding the watch. So without that, you're screwed. The other thing is, if I can remove these screws from the movement, I might be able to find similar screws. So I think this screw here looks fairly loose. Looks like I can unscrew this screw with my tweezers. So what I'll do is just hold it while I rotate the plate, and that should unscrew the screw. So I'll tape that, what the heck, and then I'll make my video, and then that's it for today. That is part 1, we'll call it. So grab that here. That's why I love these soft tweezers. These brass tweezers are nice and soft, and they grab material without slipping. So somebody broke the head right off the screw and didn't give a shit. And that was some other watchmaker. I'm never impressed by watchmakers that leave a mess. It upsets me. And I have the matching screws. I have one screw that I can use to match, to find another screw. So there it is there. There's the screw there, or the screw head. I'll throw that into the bin, what the heck. And this is a matching screw right here. So I have to find an equivalent screw like this. But the other screw is this one right here. And I do have a device that might be able to use to remove that screw. Not absolutely sure yet. I may have to drill that out or something. I could drill it out, but I'm hoping I can ease it out. And sometimes you can just use a screwdriver, very sharp blade and a very small screwdriver, and you push on the edge like this, and there's just enough force to move it. Of course, it ruined the blade of my screwdriver, but I'll just have to put another blade in there later. Yeah, doesn't look like it's going to work. The other thing is, people also they'll crazy glue something on the end and then see if they can turn it. Now, the other thing you can do is take a piece of Rodico, and that might have enough friction to turn the screw with just a piece of Rodico, if you're lucky. I think I'm going to be unlucky with this. The screw, I think, is in pretty tight. And then I do have a tool that I might be able to use to grip this thing and turn it. So let's see if I can find that tool. So here's the tool here, the Bergeron 3209. I don't know whether this will work. So I think I have to adjust this tool for the size I need to work with. here, which is around there. I'm not sure if I've got the right size gripper on the end either, so we'll see. So I think right about there should be fine, and you screw the other side in and it tightens it up. So I don't think I've ever been successful removing a screw with this tool, by the way. So let me, where's that post? There it is, right there. So I just put that on the end there, and then tighten this end here. Alright, that's not tightening enough. So what I'll do is I'll loosen this again, move it in a bit. Right about there. Tighten that up. And then try again. So I may have to hold this in some kind of a vise in order for it to work. I need 3 hands here. And now manage to loosen this at all? Oh, yeah, it is a bit loose. So I might be able to edge it out. Come on. Wow. I did see it a little tiny bit loose though, so that's super positive, which means I might be able to get the screw out. extremely painful. Anyway, I'm going to keep working at this thing until I think I'll get it out. And we'll see what happens. Alright, believe it or not, I'm working both sides of the screw with a screwdriver. The two screwdrivers, very small ones. And I'm trying to turn the screw counterclockwise. I'm getting some very small turns on it. Do I have enough of an edge to grip on the edge of it? I might. So I have pliers that are incredibly fine. I think I just dropped some oil on the floor. Anyway, these are my pliers. They're Swiss, or not pliers, tweezers. Anti-magnetic. I keep stabbing my fingers with them, but they're incredibly sharp. And I've got about 5 sets of these buggers because I was so impressed with them. That I bought a bunch more. I think I got it. And there we go, folks. As you can see, the screw is coming out. And very happy with this. That means I can get the screw out and I can replace this with a proper screw. There it is there. There's the screw head. So I got both the screws out, put that in the middle, and what I'm going to do is take the existing screw from the other side, make sure that fits in there, that I don't have some anomaly. So I'll put that in here like that, screw this in. I just want to make sure it fits. Yeah, that works. That's good. That cleaned the threads out a bit too. So that's it. So there we go. So now I've got the all 3 screws are open. I can absolutely find another screw that fits in here. No problem, or if I have to make one, but I doubt if I'll have to make one. I have a large collection of screws, so I will hunt for that, and then I'll be able to put the plates on properly. So this little device here, got it backwards, this little device here helped me loosen it, so it gave me the initial loosening. And then as you saw, my brand new technique was to use 2 very small screwdrivers and move them that way, and just basically work the screw out. So that's it. That's for my video for today. So thanks for watching today, and we'll carry on after we've got news on the click. Thanks. I'm JD. Thanks for watching my channel.